Welcome to the Fly Fishing Insider Podcast, where each week we speak with brands, icons, innovators, and trailblazers within the fly fishing industry, exploring both the successes and failures they've encountered along the way to become who they are today. But first, if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast or joined our email list, please do so by going to the flyfisherinsiderpodcast.com, or you can also find us on Instagram at Fly Fishing Insider Podcast. Now let's begin. Today our guest is Michael Willy. Michael is the CEO and founder of Vannkriger Fishing Products. Vannkriger is the up-and-coming business committed to providing apparel and gear that enhances your experience on the water. Michael's passion for fly fishing has led him to share his vision of creating this brand for all those to enjoy. Michael, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no worries. I know we've been trying to connect, and here we are. So let's jump right into this interview. Michael, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Michael Willy. I've been living in the Midwest here for about 30 years with my wife, Haley. Basically, I'm a passionate fly fisherman that has to work for a living, but his heart and soul is in the industry of fly fishing and giving back to people that want to be a part of it. That's where my passion lies.
I love the focus there. Michael, I know you recently started a new brand. Can you tell us about where you're at with that?
Yeah, I can talk all day about this. So the brand and company that I'm starting up is called Vannkriger Fly Fishing, and this brand and what we're trying to do here is provide quality gear and products to just about every level of fishermen and fly fishermen that's out there today. I'll be honest, there are fantastic companies out there that are doing huge, great things. You know, you got the big brands such as Simms, Umpqua, and Orvis. Vannkriger is about bringing more of the community aspect into the brand itself and giving back. So everything that we're creating and providing is geared toward, one, helping the individual on the water, whether it be sun protection shirts, which you see a lot of today, but also providing unique new products that haven't been seen before, such as our foundational belt that we've created. And we have a lot of passion behind that. So, and at the same time, on the back end, taking portions of what we earn and the customer support and giving back to the community. You know, there's a lot of opportunity here in the Midwest to get young children into the sport. I mean, they're never exposed to it because fly fishing really isn't seen as something you do in the Midwest. I mean, everybody I talk to, they're like, you fly fish around here? Where do you go? And I want to change that. I want to be able to provide them an outlet to something new. So that's where Vannkriger is coming in.
So when you talk about giving back, can you elaborate a bit on what you give back exactly and how you give back to the communities?
Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward, right? We have a community and people in the world that aren't exposed to fly fishing. And what we wanted to do is when purchases are made, we don't want that purchase to end with us, right? Those profits, we're going to share those around by not just giving them out, but giving them to individuals and organizations that are doing good in this world. With being the size that we are, we're going to start small, right? We're going to start with our community involvement, whether it be boys and girls clubs, getting them access to fly fishing equipment that otherwise they would never be able to see, or going a little bit larger and saying, you know what, I have a huge passion for the healing waters. Most of my family was in the military, and there's a lot of things that come with that, a lot of honor that, you know, I was not in the military. So how can I give back to those that have sacrificed so much? And the way I think of it as, you know, how can I help? And is that's providing what's calmed my mind, and that's fly fishing. So every portion of our sales is going to go toward an organization that is doing good in this world. And it's our job to vet through those organizations and make sure that they are doing the right thing and they are contributing. And that's what we're trying to do with moving our company forward.
Cool. I like it. Definitely genuine there. You know what, Michael, you mentioned earlier that you have some new innovative products, and I do want to touch base on that. But before we do that, what does Vannkriger actually stand for?
So Vannkriger, I'm glad you asked that because it's unique, right? If you go onto Google, you're going to find that Vannkriger does not exist, that single word. It's actually a combination of words in the Norwegian language, Van meaning water and Krieger meaning warrior or wars. And when I fish, and kind of what I was thinking when I was building this thing is, you know what, I go out there and it's a battlefield for me. Right? I'm going out there to have fun. I'm going out there in the wilderness. I'm doing these hikes into the woods. And that was very rustic for me. And I thought, you know what matches my passion and the views that I like to see. And it spoke to me about the Norwegian and just the Viking kind of mindset. You know, they're one with the nature, they're one with their water. They lived on the water and they just got the job done when they were doing their thing. So Vannkriger is a combination of two words, meaning water warrior. And that's the mindset when we build our gear, you're going out to battle, right? You got to have the best stuff, not even so much the best stuff, but just stuff that you can rely on. So Vannkriger is a company dedicated to just making quality, great gear for the modern fly fishermen, or fishermen for that matter.
You know what, Michael, you'd say about making quality gear, like where's the gear actually made? Is it made in the States, or is it made offshore, or where is it made locally? Is it made by you? Walk us through that.
Yeah, I can talk all day about this as well. So I designed this pack so here in the United States, and I have basically partnered with local individuals that have the skills needed to basically sew and make these belts. So I source these materials in America. It's been designed in America, and it's been made in America. So our pack right now is fully American made. And even our shirts, I will say some of the shirts, the fabrics, they might be textiles, but they're made here in the U.S., such as our supplier for our Solar Shade shirts. That's a United States, USA company, and that's where we want to go. Yeah. So we're trying to stick to doing it right with high quality and keeping it here.
I like it. Who else is on your team? Or is it just you, or is your wife involved, or do you have other employees?
It's right now, the company is just me from start to finish, but I will not sit here and say that I've done it all. There have been huge improvements, and I have a huge thanks for a lot of people such as Dan Bates, who's a good friend of mine that's been helping me out. My wife has been super supportive. The girls that have been making my belts and have basically partnered with me on one-off basis to help me bring this to life, I couldn't have done it with the community as well. I mean, people have seen some of these products and they've been nothing but thumbs up, and they just want you to succeed. So I have not done this by myself. And I will not take credit for doing it by myself. It takes a great team to do this.
I agree with you on that. It always takes a team for sure. So where I want to go with that is like, what are some of the challenges you and the team have experienced or run into? I know as a early business, there's always challenges. Can you share with us some of those challenges you've experienced?
Yeah. So when we were starting off, right, nothing existed. So the biggest challenge was, how do you bring this idea and this passion to life in the way you want it to happen? That equation is very difficult. You have this idea in your mind, and sometimes it doesn't pan out physically when it starts to manifest. So what I tell a lot of people, and what I hear a lot of, is, we got to fall forward. You're going to fail. And you're going to have times where it doesn't seem like it's working. And you can't look at it as a negative. We don't do this because we want to make a bunch of money, or you want to be able to sustain yourself. We're doing this because it's fun. And if we lose sight of that, we're not going to be able to provide the quality of gear and products that we want to provide. So we fall forward and we learn from those mistakes, and we look at them as positive issues or challenges, never a negative. So the main issue I would say that we've had was just creating and manifesting these ideas into a physical product. That's where we're at. Now, we've succeeded and we've moved forward. Our biggest challenge was fear. How do we do this? We don't know. So we partnered up and we found individuals that know how to make a difference, bring teams in.
Absolutely. No, for sure. So you mentioned in that little bit there about failing. What are some recent failures you had, and how did you overcome those failures?
Oh, when we were making this belt, the first couple demos we did, I thought they were the best thing ever, but they were not very good. That was a big failing forward and a big moment of why do I even want to do this? Right? I don't have these skill sets, but I went out and fail forward. Fear is going to stop you. And you know what? There's nothing to fear. If you plan it and you do it right, things work out. Another issue was just capital, right? As a new company bootstrapping this thing, you got to think long-term and short-term at the same time, because once you start making some purchases and investments, there's no capital besides yours. And that's a big fear as well. But luckily, with my background and a little bit of entrepreneurship and working with a lot of great people that have, built companies before, sometimes you got to invest in yourself, and that's the only sure bet you can have. So train your mind and prepare for the worst. And you know what? Things tend to work out when you work hard and you think through things.
Absolutely. So, I love the positivity you're projecting here for sure. So, you mentioned the new belt. Can you tell us a bit more about that belt in detail?
Yeah. So this belt that we created, or I should say I created, was there was a gap in the market, right? I was a hurdler and an athlete my entire life, ran in college, and I'm not saying by any means I have a bad back, but the one thing I noticed when I would go on the water and I'd take these long treks into Colorado rivers and such was my focus got taken away from fishing midday because of my lower back. Now, there are products out there today that companies make, such as just standard back braces, but I didn't want to have a back brace and my vest and my hip pack, because I'm a hip pack guy. So I went out in the market and I just could not find what I wanted or at the quality that I wanted. So I got to work and I said, I'm going to build this thing. So I have created and invented a fly fishing hip pack made from high quality materials, military spec fabrics. Cortruda is a huge thing in the market right now, high quality polymer plastic. And I created a seamless unit of a hip pack and a fully functional back brace. And it's fully adjustable. So you can't even tell when you have it on that there's a back brace back there with elastic. But when you put this thing on, even without having the elastic engaged, you're going to get full support from front to back, 365 degrees. We widened out the belt itself, gave a little bit more stiffness to it, but also kept a lot of the cushions where we need it for comfort on the hips. We moved a lot of the weight from the back of a typical pack where it just kind of hangs, and we found ways to incorporate it more into the sides and in the front. So you don't have to turn your pack around all the time, right? You want your high capacity, you want your high touch items in the front. It's mostly your smaller stuff, maybe small fly boxes, but also kept a large capacity pack in the back for function. So the pack in itself is super awesome. We love it. We're continually thinking up on new ideas on the new iterations, but right now we have a product that we think is just dynamite in this industry, and we're really excited to start taking it to market and getting feedback from the customers, because the one thing we're going to do is, with how small we are, is we can take customer feedback and pivot so nicely and so quickly to accommodate things that, you know what, if the customer is needing something, we're agile. We can figure that out and have a one-off. So we love this pack. You can check it out at vannkriger.com. We have a couple photos up there. There's more to come, but we love it. And if you have any interest, I mean, I can probably find a way to get you guys more pictures and videos, but it's been super fun making this. And I'll tell you what, it fishes great. I've basically trialed and errored this thing myself for hours and hours, and
so I know that
it works well.
Michael, I know that you say you've trialed and errored the pack for hours and hours. Has there been any other testing or community involvement in testing? Have you given it to guys and said, here, go beat the hell out of it, drive over it with your truck 6 times, like make this pack, like do your worst, and I want the feedback. Like walk us through that. Have you done any testing?
Yeah, I have. So I have a super benefit of where I live, right? I have a stream, pretty heavy stream behind my house, and it's not easy to get to, right? I've fallen, tripped, whatever, many times, even without this pack. So testing wise, I got a bunch of great friends at realflyrod.com. I highly recommend you guys go check them out. They have everything, and they're located right in my backyard. So those guys are tenured fishermen, and they've been all over, and they've taken this thing out and taken a look at it, and they love it. So they were my trial group, right? Trusted guys that I've known for a couple years now, and they're day in and day out living the fly fishing life. As well, I've put this thing through mud. I've put this thing through sand. I've taken it out in the backyard and just thrown it. Like I said, luckily, when you have high quality products and high craftsmanship, the thing doesn't break. So with the Cortruda fabric, the high polymer plastics, the military grade webbing, and the fabric and basically itself and the thread is top notch. So I've beat the hell out of it, and it's still ticking. So there's a lot to still improve. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys too. I'm always about feedback. I can't say that I've done all the testing and it's going to be the one-off and it's going to be the greatest thing ever. I think it is.
And that leads me to my next question. Absolutely. So what do you like? What has the reception of the pack been so far? And what do you think, like projecting wise going forward, that the customers and fly fishers are going to like about the pack? I mean, you're competing against some pretty heavy hitters out there, right? But you do have a niche, right?
Oh yeah. So I've thought about that extensively, right? I mean, I was a loyal Sims guy from the time before I started this company. And I had to think about, okay, like as a fly fisherman, this industry, it's brand loyal. People fall in love with these brands. They've been around for a long time and they provide the best stuff. So we knew going into this, we had an uphill battle that we were going to enjoy fighting. And that's people need to recognize, or we need to recognize, that new brands are tough to get into this industry. I mean, there's only a couple that I know of that really came in strong, like Tacky Fly Boxes. I mean, they came off strong and went wild. There's a ton of companies out there on Instagram right now that I love following, such as Taylor Reels. Shout out to them. But this pack, compared to other packs, it is different. And people kind of look at it and they give me that eye and they go, you're onto something here. But it's so new and it's a name they haven't heard. So it kind of sets people off a little bit on, just stepping back and going, oh man, that's another game play, another player in the game that I wasn't aware of. I guess I need to look into them. But there's a lot of discussions and a lot of marketing and a lot of passion behind it. But the customer's going to speak for it, right? We're going to figure it out. With being so new, you guys are hearing it from the start. I can't sit here and say we've sold 1,000.
But you will. Absolutely. I want to shift to other products that you guys have or you're carrying within your brand. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah. So we have basically, we love this. I love the Solar Shade shirts. Big fan, right? I'm a fair skin guy. So when I'm out fishing, I get sunburned pretty bad. So I'm all about the protection of my body because I want to continue to do this all the way up into my old age without having to worry about skin cancer. So we provide really awesome solar shade shirts. It's called the Krieger AMR is our brand. And they're 50 SPF shirts, highly recommended, cancer preventative when it's covered. And we throw our design on there and our name, and we just love to design those things. It comes in all different sorts of colors right now. We did a kind of a slow promo with friends and family to kind of get us up and running. We have white and sage. And then we also have just hundreds and hundreds of different kinds of products. We have hoodies, we have t-shirts, we have long sleeves. We have, I think I have 3 different kinds of t-shirts to fit those individuals. And the reason we are offering so much is not everybody that comes to our site wants to buy the Primo t-shirt. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to provide to every level, whether that be intro, your child, women. I am all about making sure women feel included in this because guess what? I want my wife to be out there with me. I want all wives to be able to go out and enjoy and have the same gear that their husbands have and vice versa. We're not biased here. We just want it to be so inclusive to everybody that they get to experience fly fishing at its best.
There's a lot of brands out there, and any guy nowadays, I know we've talked about this as well, any guy nowadays can just slap a logo on a t-shirt. They can go to Fiverr, they can get one slapped on there, $5, you got a logo, you're done. What separates your brand from that brand, and why should we buy your product and your brand as opposed to the other brand out there? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So as a business and as trying to get this thing started, I've thought about that extensively. And really what it came down to was everyone can provide a great t-shirt, right? Simms, Orbis, it's all the same. Mm-hmm. It's just a logo, right? You're buying that brand. What we're trying to do is, if you need a t-shirt and you come buy it from us, we want to provide high quality, one, the shirt itself or the gear, but a logo you guys can trust and know what you stand for and know what we're about. But also it doesn't just end there with when you buy a shirt from us. Every single purchase, a portion is going to go to something good in this world. Somebody or a group or a not-for-profit that's making a change in this industry, whether it be a guide that's taking his time out of his day to organize a stream cleanup. If we find out about that and we contact them and we're like, hey, you know what, we heard about what you're doing. Do you need help? Do you need resources? Mm-hmm. If we can provide that kind of incentive and help, that's just helping the community and that's helping this industry because it's not the big corporations that are going to make the difference. They get it started, but it's every individual and building that community. So it's helping our military, it's helping our local waters, and hopefully someday we can get all the way up into the the national and the global conservative help because the waters of today, if we're not careful, are going to not be as good and they're going to deplete. So there's got to be people that are going to be able to fight for the little guy. And that's what we want to get to that point, is be a name that can help and support and drive this industry's
So just to clarify that, Michael, it's all the behind the scenes stuff that you guys do, all the charity and all that, and as well as the quality that's really differentiating and separating you between the two. You mentioned earlier that you're always innovative in product testing and you have new products and whatnot. Do you have anything new in the horizon that you'd like to share with us, or is it super top secret over there at the headquarters?
You know what? There's a lot of top secret stuff, or there's a lot of ideas floating around in my head. But really, I think the next thing that are coming is we are so new, and that foundation pack that we built, that is the top secret, right? I have that patent pending right now. That's something new. Right. I've talked to about 50 people that are in this industry, whether it be, I'll name drop a couple things here. So we got a nice, actually, I won't name drop. I'll just say this. So we got an Orvis individual that's checked it out. We got a guy that's down in Florida that makes custom flies. He's been killing it. Been overseas on a couple different podcasts. He's seen it. And they all give me that, that look like you're onto something here. So that's our top secret, right? This belt's coming out. It just, we're just now selling them. That's the top secret stuff. But the next thing is taking it up a new level and continuing to just refine a little bit. I guess I'll leave the surprise for later. You're going to have to come check us out again in a little bit. Maybe come talk to me 6 months from now.
So with that said, what other goals do you have going forward?
Goals right now are to continue to just meet new people and get this in the community and start hitting up a lot more expo shows, right? So we just did the Cincinnati Fly Expo just last month, had a great time, right? Love doing the expos and just meeting new people. But really it's planning on expanding a little bit and start hitting up a little bit more of the Midwest, right? Maybe going to Michigan, going over to Indiana for the boat show, and maybe doing a little bit more product demos with our guides and getting into some smaller shops. Anybody that would be willing to pick us up and give us a chance. So we're ground floor right now. Sky's the limit. We can go any direction and we're going to make improvements.
So are you doing like a bit of a show circuit kind of thing, like tour, if you will?
We plan on it. We're planning on, this year was kind of that first trial run. We got in there. We got our feet wet, had great feedback, but we're definitely going to hit it hard next year, 2020. And we're really going to try to make sure that, we're ready to go when the people want it, they're going to get it.
I also wanted to touch base on where you get your inspiration. You're so positive. I love this conversation. You're just such a positive guy. Where are you getting your inspiration and positivity from?
That would be growing up, my mother and father and my brother. From the get-go, my father had leukemia for 9 years. So at a young age, right, I was about 12, my brother was about 9. We had to learn with the fact that, there are negative things in this world, and they taught us just to stay positive, and life goes on, and you got to find the positive in everything, because life is only going to get more difficult. You do what you can to simplify it and enjoy it. But I hate to see it in this world, and I'm guilty of it all the times too. But when you stay negative, your body will follow your mind. So it's just, you can either choose to stay positive and live that life, or you can choose to be negative. It's when you wake up, it's a thought. It's the thought process of, I can choose to be negative or I can choose to be positive, and I just choose to be positive. It's just the way I want to be able to live. It's not easy. There are days where it's difficult, but every day is a journey. So enjoy it, because you never know if it's going to be your last. I wanted
to ask you, Michael, how's the social media aspect playing out for your business? Are you guys are on Instagram, anywhere else?
Yeah, so we have our Instagram account, and we're getting that ready. I'll be honest, guys, we're just now starting out. So we have all these grand ideas, but we're trying to make it work. So Instagram account is up, been throwing up some great pictures. Got a website up. I'm loving that, right? Vannkriger.com. We plan on having a lot of our social media and a lot of our material on our website. We also have plans to kind of do what a lot of these guys do, right? I love watching fly fishing videos on YouTube. I don't care if it's a guy that posted one or if it's the guys over on Fly TV, right? I mean, I love them all. So I definitely want to get into the YouTube game a little bit, kind of put out there what we're doing, because that's really where it's fun, right? You get to see, when you can't fish, you get to watch fishing. And when you're watching fishing, you're usually thinking about it. So we have a lot of aspirations, but we got a Twitter, we got a Facebook, and we're trying to build that community. But it's going to take time. So if you want to be along and build it with us.
How important as a new business is that channel for marketing, helping your business out and growing and whatnot as a free enterprise or a free way? Do you feel that's a valid way to go, or do you feel that's the only way to go for marketing for your business now?
Oh man, I'll tell you what, from my experience and from what I, talk to a lot of people, the product does not sell itself. I know no matter how good it is, unless you're, the top dog and you ride that wave with your name. So you got to be involved, right? It's about relationships. Anything you talk about, the root thing of how do you become better as an individual or a company, it's relationships. It's the people you meet. And the only way to do that is through connections. And there's nothing better today than, Facebook is a great tool, right? Instant access, instant everything. So if you're not on it and you're not doing it, it's going to be tough, right? People want instant gratification. So we just got to find a way to be able to provide that. But not because they want it, because we like doing it.
I agree. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you too, you mentioned relationships. How are the relationships in the fly fishing industry going for you? Meeting those connections and taking those relationships that come your way and forming, and walk us through that. How's it been going?
I've been so fortunate with the relationships I've built through talking, one, before I even had a company, right? Wanting to go fishing, and two, after my company, when I get to talk about that. This industry for me, everybody that I've met has been so helpful, so nice, and they just want you to succeed. So I can do so many shout outs here to just influential people in my community, not even so much, globally. The Fly Expo is a great example. I've been meeting Mike Schmidt down there for 3 years, and he's got the coolest set of flies I've ever seen in my life. And I've just started emailing him, and he was emailing me back, and he wanted to know what was going on. I got the guys at Real Fly Rod they are a global online store, and they treat me like no one. Like I'm just another one of their crew. And we go to these groups together. We go to these fun events together. We go fishing together, and it's just a great community. And I've never had a negative experience with the local guys around here. And we can get more into that about the stigma and just kind of how people perceive fly fishing. But it's changing so rapidly. It's not just about the guy that's has the $1 million setup. You can do this with anything, and you got all ages.
It's funny that you mentioned I agree with what you're saying. The connections are great within the fly industry, and that's like one door leads to another, to another, to another. It's just consistent. When the ball gets rolling, man, it just really gets rolling. And I know in our experience as well, doing the podcast, it's consistent. Like some guys like, hey, you gotta podcast this company, or hey, you gotta podcast this company. It's just nonstop. So I know like fly fishers, we're so close, and we're always watching out for each other.
Yeah.
in that regards. But there's always the dark side of the industry. And what would that one thing that you would like to, I always ask my guests this, of course, the one thing that you would change within the fly fishing industry?
I guess this is more of a wish, right? I don't know if I could change it, but there's nothing that hurts me more than when a young kid or a young woman goes for fly fishing, right? And not so much at the guide shop, but when they finally get to the water for the first time. And, they might not know everything, and they shouldn't. But it's individuals that have the opportunity to help them out because they've made that choice to go to the water and try this out, and they might not be the most polite, right? You do come across some individuals that they love their home waters and they act like it's kind of theirs, which that's fine. But it's really that kind of tone. I mean, sometimes when I hit the water, it's all about themselves. And that's where I wish we could change that. I wish we could all at the same time do what we love doing and become more of a group. But that's a big wish, right? I mean, everyone is different. And then I guess the other kind of things I would like to change is, I mean, really, this is it right here. You don't have to have a ton of money to get into this. That's the stigma, right? Oh, fly fishing, that's high dollar. It's not. There is so much gear out there that's affordable that can get you started, that'll last you your entire life. You just got to get into it. So that's what I would want to change.
You know, Michael, we're at that point in the show where we ask our guests the most frequently asked questions from our listeners, and I'm going to ask you a few frequently asked questions. How many days a year do you fish?
More than I want. No, I would love to go fishing more. So during the spring, the summer, and the fall, I fish when I can about 2 times during the week, and definitely every day on the weekends here or there. I'm so fortunate. I got a sweet stream behind my house for smallmouth. I got a pond that I've stocked. So if I can't go do the big extravagant, go driving, I got my home waters that they do the trick for me. I love it.
If you could fish with anyone, who would that person be?
Bill Dance. I grew up with watching Bill Dance videos. My mom got me into this whole thing. I mean, she got me started fishing. But if I could fish with anybody, it would be Bill Dance, because that man just makes me laugh. Nothing gets that man down.
You know what, Michael, before I let you go, do you have anything for our listeners today?
You know what, guys? I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time today, and a big shout out to the Fly Fishing Insider podcast. I have never had so much fun doing this. And when we caught up and you were nice enough to let me come on, I mean, it just lit my world up. I love it. This is what I want to do. And I just can't say thank you enough to the listeners for taking your time. And thank you, Greg, for having me on. Do one shout out, right? So for those of you that are listening, I do want to be able to give back, right? For those of you that are participating, and provide a discount code. So if you guys go to vannkriger.com, please sign up for the newsletter. And at the same time, type in promo code INSIDER, all caps, and you can get a one-time discount for the rest of the year for anything that you have in the cart. So come help me. Enjoy it.
We'll definitely put that in the show notes. And guys, go and support. It's for a good cause and it's for great products. I want to thank you, my guests today, and you guys, of course.